Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever you are. Be very welcome to this really quick session about recruiting the best talent in Latin America. I hope that you are doing well. So we are just waiting a few seconds to let other people join in. As we are joining, we would like to invite you to go to this direction, this website. We will use it to interact so that you can send us your questions and we can respond to you as soon as possible if we can do it in this space. So if you would like to send your questions over that website, it's haslights.com/MBI 2023, or if you feel more comfortable using the Zoom chat box, you can use it as well. So be very welcome, and we will start in a few seconds. We're just waiting for the other people to join in. Great. So in this web link, you can put your name, your industry, and even your email. If you would like to get more information after this quick chat, we will be happy to answer your questions. So let's start with a quick introduction. My name is Miguel Cruz. I am based in Mexico City, and I am part of MBI Talent Group. Let me share my screen so we can start reviewing the materials. Well, just a quick introduction. MBI Talent Group is a talent search firm that initiated operations 9 years ago. We are specialists in Latin America, but we also have operations abroad in different parts of the world, including Europe, Africa, and Asia. We have 3 business units: executive search, tech search, which is more focused on software developers, and finally, a consulting business area. So we have a little time, so let's get into it, if you don't mind. Okay, so we already know that Latin American talent is more affordable than in other parts of the world, especially if you compare it with North America. But also, we already know that time zones are really more compatible with these countries in North America, right? So it's really convenient if you are planning to expand or to create a nearshore operation. Also, English-speaking executives are more common than 10 years ago. So there are several benefits. I won't go too deep into it because you probably know already that. So, but I want to show you something really interesting. The right talent is still scarce. So you really need a smart strategy if you want to recruit the best talent in this region. So let's have a really quick overview of the region. First of all, Latin America has like 8.5% of the world population, and 80% of that population is in the first 7 countries, from Brazil down to Chile. You have there like 80% of the population. So if you would like to focus your efforts, maybe you should go over there. They are also the countries that have the most productive economies. But this is the interesting thing about the region. The share of companies by size, the small and medium companies are 99.5% of companies in the whole region, and only 0.5% are the large ones. However, if you see the formal employment generation, only 60% is behind small and medium companies, and 40% comes from large corporations. Finally, what is really more interesting is that the total production value of this sector comes 75% from large companies, which is kind of logical because they are more productive and they have to focus in having the best talent. So large corporations will still have the best opportunities to attract of course, the best talent, but these are interesting figures that you should know. Now, according to the OECD, there are several factors that can make a country attractive to expand operations to. Mexico is one of these countries that has like green scores in different variables. Their last SME policy index, their most recent one is from 2019. Unfortunately, they don't have data from Brazil. However, Brazil, of course, is a really, really interesting country to set operations because it is sometimes the base country for the regional operations for several companies. Another interesting country is Colombia. They have a really good access to market and internationalization. And finally, I would like to highlight Chile. They have a high innovation and technology hub. Of course, Brazil is already there. It is also one of the most important tech hubs in the world, along with Mexico. So as you can see, there are different characteristics. However, you should always target the biggest countries, especially, for example, Chile, that can have different alternatives. For example, access to finance is relatively good in the region. So you may also find there good opportunities to expand. Now, where to look at the talent in this region? Well, for executive positions and tech positions, of course, LinkedIn will be the #1 tool that you would like to master. And in the second place, of course, headhunting firms, because we believe that the most talented executives are not really looking at job boards, right? So LinkedIn is still the most used tool in the region, and you should always have experts in the company to use the tool and exploit all the characteristics that it can let you reach the best talent. But what about employer branding? It's really, really important in the region to start organizing events like hackathons for tech positions or college recruiting marathons. Also, if you have a YouTube channel, you can use it as a side strategy for sending their traffic and getting to know your company or your brand to the talent in the market. Also, Facebook is an interesting case because even though the region might lose like less than 1% of users each year, it is losing users at a slower pace than the US. And it has almost 80% of penetration in the population across all countries. So Facebook is still one of the most attractive platforms to get to know your firm. And of course, then we can use another job boards website like Glassdoor, Indeed, or Career Builder. They have really interesting reviews about companies, and you should also take that into account. Okay, but don't get too distracted. LinkedIn will still be the best tool that you can use to get to the best talent. Talking about tech positions, well, there are another kind of websites or companies that are specialized in this kind of positions. For example, Dice is a membership website where you can post job opportunities, and software developers will join and they will see the openings and they can apply. Also, HackerX is a company that organizes events in person or virtual, and you can also participate there to get to know more people in the tech industry. Now, Instagram and TikTok, they are the social platforms that are gaining more users every year, especially TikTok. So more and more companies are starting to post jobs opportunities there, but also to build your employer branding. But of course, these are social platforms that are more popular among young people. So you would like to address your communication to younger generations over there. Well, and what about blue collar positions? Well, we also would recommend that you can go for a posting strategy. There are several providers that can help you post one single job opportunity in several job boards, so that you can access all the local job and most popular job boards in for each country. Of course, there's Google for Jobs, or you can also go for the massive recruitment agencies. There are some international like Randstad, or some other local like OCC Mundial for Mexico. But this is the most effective way to do that. Also, there's a recent trend in-game advertising, where you know that there are some really popular games. For example, Free Fire has a huge user base here in Latin America, and their target users are in the low and middle income layer of the population. So you should also try this strategy. It may get some interesting results for more massive positions. Okay. Now, but then why you need to go for the candidates? Why we recommend that you still do an active search for them? Because 80% of the talent, and let me just highlight this, of the right talent is not looking at job boards. So you may have, let's say, a marketing director vacancy. And of course, there are a lot of people that hold that title, or that has that experience, or maybe they are senior managers in marketing. However, they may not have the right cultural fit or the right job experiences that you are looking for that specific position. So if you consider the right talent, you must consider that if you post that opportunity in any website or in your corporate website, you will only be getting like 20% of the available talent pool. And you will not be receiving any applications probably from the passive candidates, the ones that are really that are successful in their job, that they are happy, and they're not looking for new opportunities right now. So that's why you should be really intentional when you look for candidates in the region. Okay. So what about college or universities in Latin America? According with the World Bank, only 50% of young people have access to this kind of education. They refer to people between 18 and 24 years old. And imagine this, like 60% of them won't graduate, which leaves that only 20% of this young base will graduate actually. So we do have a really small pool of talent where to select from. And also 55% of college institutions are private, which gets me to a really interesting insight. Our experience in the region tells us that tier 1 companies usually target private institutions. And however, public universities are still among the best ranked according to worldwide ranking companies or organizations. So this means that it is very common that tier 2 companies can have unexpected good talent, or really talented people that are, of course, more affordable with their compensation packages. So this is also a variable that you should consider when designing a strategy for bringing new talent. Okay, let me remind you, for those who have just joined in, that we have this link. I just put it in the chat box. You can go there, leave your contact information, and you can also send us any question that you may have, and we will try to answer you back as soon as possible. Or you can use this chat box also to send any questions you have. Then, what about the work trends in this year? according to Gartner, there are these 9 future of work trends. But however, I would like to highlight some of them for the region, the ones that we have looked that they have more relevance for the candidates and they are looking more actively when they are looking for job opportunities. We have like these 3 trends. First, hybrid flexibility for the front lines, especially when you talk about tech positions. We have software engineers and alike roles that won't take a new job opportunity, even if they pay more, if they don't have 100% home office mode. So if you're you want to build a talented tech team in a really fast period of time or small time frame, you should consider this to have home office 100%. If you have an hybrid model, well, it gets a little bit more difficult. And of course, if you don't have any flexibility at work, well, you will be in a huge disadvantage. And well, this trend is also expanding to traditional companies, which are already looking for hybrid models. More traditional companies are opting for, let's say, 3 days a week in the office and maybe 2 or 1 day at home. But still, it's a trend that is already there and it will stay for the coming years. Then you need to have well-being programs to provide to the employees, because after the pandemic, you know that employees reevaluate what it was worth regarding their employment. So they are really evaluating if their employers are taking care of their wealth or of their wellness, right? So you should consider to have different programs or perks or benefits for the employees that target their life and work balance. It's really important. And finally, diversity, equity, and inclusion is really important for new generations, and is also a really important factor when it comes to retention. So as you can see, all these factors are really about having cost-effective attraction strategies and retention programs, because many companies had to restructure their organization and they had to make tough decisions about which talent they needed to keep. Then after all this rearrangement, they now have to worry about retention, because they already have really the best talent they could keep, and now they don't want to lose it. So this has a lot of challenges for new players, which will find that companies, especially tier 1 companies, will have a really attractive retention programs, for example, stock options or retention bonuses along the time, or variable bonuses. So that's why you need to be really creative when it comes to finding the right talent. Okay. What are the diversity, equity, and inclusion challenges in the region? You should know that we have 3 regional challenges that are like really present and common in every country in this region. First, deep economic inequality. Okay, not everybody has equal opportunities. Let's say, according to the UN Development Program, 33% of people live in poverty, and that's 1 out of 3 people. You know, so. And for example, 10% of the wealthiest people have 37% of the resources or the richness. So it, by the way, Latin America in this sense is the most unequal or the most is the region that has this characteristic the most highlighted. There's no other region that has this characteristic as it is, as you can see it. And another thing is native people. It's still an issue. For example, if you take Brazil, these two variables play a huge role in diversity because, for example, Black people don't have the opportunities to access the best universities, or they don't have frequently they don't have a good English level. So it combines these barriers for those vulnerable populations. So it's still a really big issue among all the countries. And of course, gender inequality. The employability rate is 50% for women versus 74% for men. This means that women may want to work, but they have to undertake domestic tasks that prevent them from working in corporations. So the employability rate is suffering for women. And still, women in Latin America earn 17% less than men. This is a reality. So it is really valuable that if you make an effort for strengthening your employer brand, you can address these challenges, okay? And well, let's just finish because we're running out of time to the 7 deadly sins when recruiting in LATAM. First, be careful with job titles because they may sound unattractive for new candidates. For example, a manager in Asia could be a director in LATAM because here in Latin America is most common that we have high potential talent that will get direction level responsibilities at a young age. Of course, the startup environment is different. You can see there directors, 30-year-old directors already, or VPs. That's really common. However, in more traditional industries, it's not really common. Some to get into a directive position, you may have to have a 20-year career or more in other regions. Here in Latin America, it's common that 15-year-old career person can get directive roles or even sooner than that. So you have to analyze first the market that you want to attack or the market from you want to get talent from, and then understand what are the right titles, job titles that will match the market. Another one is really common. There's to have a complex selection process. If you take more than 1 month to hire a strategic role, well, that's too risky because it's a lot of time. You know, companies are really competing for the best talent, and the talent is moving really fast. So you need to get a relevant short list of candidates within the first week. If you take 2 weeks to get your first short list, well, you are already in trouble, you know, because you will have to run all the screenings later in the process, and you may not be able to retain that talent that you already found. So take that in mind. Poor employer branding without a local HR team is another common mistake, because you know Latin American people like to get the sense of trust. They want to be reached with a common language. They want to know that the company is stable. So if they don't find that you have like local resources, or that you don't have a strong employer brand, they may be reluctant to listen to what you have to say. Then the compensation package may don't match the expected expertise market value. So it is really common that you want an executive with different characteristics, but you have a low budget when you reach the market. Especially when you talk about bilingual managers, they usually earn 20% more than non-bilingual managers. In more executive positions, it's more common that they already know English. So it's like a characteristic that you don't need to worry about. But let's say in managerial positions, you can find that kind of difference. Then another deadly sin would be lack of clarity in the job specs and or the organizational structure that you will have for this new talent. If you start a search without this without having this with everything clear, you won't be able to get the best talent because you will get them confused. They will start making questions that you won't have the answers for, and it may seem a basic, but we have seen this mistake several times. Another really common mistake is that if you hire a third party to do the recruitment for you, you put multiple talent firms searching for the same role. That's not really effective because everyone will be fighting for the same people. And the candidates will get confused. They will receive different signals and your employer brand will suffer. And even worse, if the fee is 100% upon success. Some headhunting firms tend to charge their fee upon the hiring of the employee. I mean, that has what does that cause? That causes that they will likely send you as much resumes as they can, so that the probability of getting the right candidate will be higher for them, but you will have to review more resumes and they will not be likely, they won't likely have all the characteristics that you really need. So imagine that with multiple agencies, the chaos will grow exponentially. And while not communicating company stability or a clear career path, or that you have a balanced working environment. As we said, this is a really high priority for the people. And finally, like a bonus, well, overlooking local regulations about outsourcing could be a mistake. For example, in Mexico, you cannot outsource everything. You need to outsource only non-core activities. So these are like the main factors that you need to take into account when recruiting in Latin America. I would like to thank you for your time. We are running out of time right now. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Drop your contact information in the chat box or in the web page that I shared with you earlier. I shared it with you here, and we will get back to you. MBI Talent Group is a headhunting firm and a talent consulting firm that can help you in your region strategies. Okay, so thank you very much for your time, and I wish you to have a very productive day. Hello.